All right, guys, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Exciting news. The Commander flew and it landed. That's the main part. It came back on all three wheels. So the plane flew great. I do want to say that it took a lot of work to get to this point, just to get the plane flown. Way more than I thought while putting the plane together or getting the plane to my house and, you know, looking at everything. I simply thought I was going to replace servos, get the engines running, and make sure the landing gear worked. There was that. That was not all it was. Of course, the engines had their issues. They're glow engines that had been sitting for a while, so they didn't have compression. They didn't want to fire. Valve springs kept coming loose, and it was just a lot. We had to tear down those engines, but we finally got them running. Landing gear system worked good for the most part. There is a leak when the landing gear are down, and I'm assuming that's from the valve. But you know, it was not bad enough to where I couldn't fly the plane. Also, the wiring inside that airplane was absolutely insane. So, but without holding it up too much longer, I just want to give a special thanks to Chuck Knoll and Cisco for getting those engines tuned and running tip-top shape. We got to the field at around 2, and we didn't fly the plane till almost 4 o'clock because we kept running those engines, got the idles and everything situated. So thanks, Chuck and Cisco, for that. Thank you, David Laird, for helping us handle the plane right before we flew it. And a special shout out to Josh Ladd for recording the video. It was made for a very exciting day at the field. So, without further ado, here's the flight. All right. Yeah. Yeah. His name. I was back down on all 3 wheels. Down for a minute. You got it? It's a little tail heavy, Dad.
Tail heavy?
It's a little pitchy on the elevator, I'll say that.
Get ready to land this time.
Well, hold on, Dad, I got it. A little touchy on everything, I can change that.
Come on, baby. Boy, died at the right time.
Yeah, well, it's a little heavy. Okay, so here we are, the debrief. After the flight, as you heard me say in the video, I felt as if the plane was slightly tail heavy. It did come off the ground without me asking for it to. I didn't touch the elevator. It just lifted off with a nose up attitude. And I was like, okay, well, since we're here, let's go ahead and do it. Suck the gear up. When I made the first lap, I felt the plane was tail heavy, and I started adding down elevator trim in it, and that kind of leveled it out. The elevator was still very touchy, and I know I set it up with like I do the rest of my planes with Expo. You know, it's not a Warbird, so it didn't have a lot of elevator trim, but they were touchy. Landing, and a good thing I kept the flight short, because as soon as I touched down, the right engine killed because it was out of fuel. I had 14-ounce fuel tanks in it, and I always felt that those were kind of small for Sato 180s, but I went with it. On landing, though, I waited until I had the plane slowed all the way down on final to pull full flaps down. But even then, like, the plane still came in with a nose-up attitude with all the down elevator trim that I had input. So, for instance, let's say if this is neutral elevator on the Commander, I had so much down elevator trim today, it was about there, you know? And I understand I had flaps down, and the way that plane is designed, I'm sure it was going to bloom when you drop the flaps, but yeah. And so judge me by the content of my character, not by the smoothness of my landing, because it did want to, that little wing drop was definitely a tip stall waiting to happen. But we got the plane down, that's all that matters. What I am going to do is once again address the CG. Which it probably just needs a little bit more weight in the nose. It's probably nothing crazy. I don't have room to move anything inside the fuselage because there is nothing there. There's a cockpit. Everything else installed is either on the CG or aft. So there's nowhere for me to go with anything. There's that. Address the CG, adjust the landing gear, and I am going to take those Sato 180s off. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Probably going to sell them. But they're coming off simply because I don't want to go glow on an airplane. Glow engines just kind of make my teeth itch. And I also have heard horror stories about converting those to gas. So I did some research, did some measurements, and the Stinger 30cc twin fits directly in that cowl right over there, which is the cowl for the Commander. So that's what I will be going for. The Commander is now in the trailer with my Meister P47. That is also to be talked about later. So moving on. Before I do anything else to that Commander, I will be getting this Mark Frankel T-34 flying. Now, this is mine. That's my dad's over there. But this one, if you remember me telling you guys, I wanted to paint this one after one that was actually flown in the 50s and 60s. And I got the idea of this paint job from a black and white photo I found on Google. And thank you to my good friend in California who I've never met, Brent. You know who you are. He told me that it was not standard orange. It was Dayglow orange that plane was painted with. And he told me how to accomplish the Dayglow orange look. Here, I'm going to walk over here and show you the difference between Dayglow orange and International orange. The tail section of my plane is Dayglow orange. The cowl to my dad's T-34 is International orange. Okay, this actually kind of doesn't do it justice, but you know, it's very fluorescent. Hear me out. I'll have to show y'all some pictures of it in the daylight. It is super duper fluorescent. Glows like it that trick worked. All it was is you spray Tamiya or Tamaya, tomato, potato. You spray Tamiya fluorescent red first, and then you spray the fluorescent orange on top, and that gets you your day glow. So yeah, that was the scheme, and I liked the way the vertical fin was painted on this one. I like the horizontal white stripe going down the vertical fin on the rudder, as opposed to the standard, just orange vertical fin. My brother now has a Mark Frankel T34. And this also has that same vertical fin, but the cowl is painted different. So right now we have 3 Mark Frankel T34s, all painted in similar paint jobs, and there is a 4th coming. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, so where we are on this one, just kind of give you guys an update. This plane has no radio in it. So I do have to tackle radio gear. That's my receiver that I'm going to use. That's one of the batteries. That's a switch. I just bought a new transmitter, so that receiver came with the transmitter, 14-channel Futaba receiver. I will be using that. My current task is to make this hatch, which I got the hole cut. I got the door right here. I just cut that out of another piece of G10 because this is what was originally there, but as you can see, yeah. So anyway, that was there, but it wasn't an operational door. And what I need is somewhere to do, I need, batteries, so my switches, my air stuff. I'm going to have 3 air systems in this plane. I'm going to have retracts, gear doors, and brakes. And I needed room to put all that. And it's such a nice airplane. I'm not going to stick that outside the airplane. I mean, come on. And the only hatch that was accessible on this airplane was the battery compartment on the real one, which is right here. Which I'm probably going to use this for fueling purposes. So yeah, you can see he had a switch, looks like a fuel dot. I don't know what else he had, but I'm definitely going to be using 2 batteries, so they will be using 2 switches. Like I said, 3 air systems, and I will be having a smoke system on this plane. So I'll just use this up here for fuel stuff. Because my dad's, same guy built my dad's, this one has the hatch. So that's what I need on mine. He also has that door up front. So we're going to set these airplanes up to be identical as far as how they operate. I'm not going to separate straight too far. But yeah, going to do that. Cool thing to note here. I was panicking on what I was going to do for mufflers on this engine. This is a NOAA GT80, which of course you can't find brand new anywhere. And you also can't find these small spark plug wires anywhere, the original ones. But I got mine to work. Then my brother and I worked out a deal, and long story short, I now have a Meister Scale P47. It's not finished, but we'll get there. But in the box were a set of mufflers. These in particular. It says it's a Bison custom muffler. See if I can get that right. Yeah, Bison custom mufflers. And I just wanted to, so I just said, let me just see. I just want to see what are the chances that this muffler is going to fit directly on this airplane. And when I tell you, bolted on and the pipe went directly into the hole where the scale exhaust tubes are going to be, I was absolutely blown away. Blown away. And now I know where to get them because my dad needs some. So anyway, there's that. I got my pilots. I'm pretty much gathering everything I need. I'm about to hop on Futaba's website, order the servos. Although I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do the elevators. Right now it's set up for 1 elevator servo. I guess I'm gonna ask around to see if this. I guess I can still use this setup, but there we go. Yeah, that is your elevator push rod. You push and it goes up. Pull comes down. But your rudder here, I think I'm going to get rid of this situation and just use the pull pulls. I don't know. I guess this would still work. He has some humongous servos in here. He has some sailplane servos in here that Futaba doesn't even make anymore. So yeah, not going to use those anymore. Anywho, that's where we are. So now you got a flight video on the Commander and an update video on the Mark Frankel T-34. Guys, I can't wait. I'm going to start posting more frequently now that I've got free time now and I'm motivated to get stuff going. It's the winter time, you know, flying events have slowed down. And I'm ready to be at every event I can possibly be at in 2024. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces.